Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to this week's Mental Monday. I want to talk about the different ways reading something versus watching something affects us. There are two different forms of content, two different sources of information, and two very different ways of taking in information. I think they affect us really uniquely in how they trigger our brains also. So both are very valid ways of taking in information, of learning about something. And I personally really love both. I have different ways for different topics that I like to take in that information. So like some topics I love watching a video on. Other topics I love reading. And those trigger your brains in certain ways. They also put your brain in a different mode for how you're taking in the information. What I mean by that is reading is a much more active thing. When you're reading things on a piece of paper or on a screen, you are creating that mental picture yourself. You are having to process that information very in-depthly. You're having to pay attention to the words very closely. And you yourself are inferring what that looks like, what that means. And your brain is triggered in a very, to me, creative and intellectual and spark kind of way. Watching something is generally a more passive way of learning. You're not having to figure out what something looks like. They're giving you the picture themselves. You are not having to interpret descriptive words. You are literally just taking in the information. And the other part of that is what those visual images can trigger as well. Whether it's a shocking image, whether it's a happy image, whether it's a really tragic or sad image, can affect you and trigger you in different ways. Seeing it versus reading it. There's different impacts that has. So for me, I have, like I mentioned, different topics that I like those different forms for. Watching things tends to be step-by-step learning how to do something or entertainment. I am a huge visual learner. Huge visual learner. I love watching someone do something that I'm trying to do. It just is that much more helpful for me. So for that type of thing, when I'm talking about doing something in a program I'm learning, when I'm talking about organizing something, and I want to see how somebody's done it, or installing something that we've just gotten and we're trying to install. Like a video on that is amazing for me. Or if it's just entertainment, if it's I'm just literally just going to have something to watch for fun, I'm not going much farther than that. I love videos. And of course there's the, for me, kind of learning for fun, where I'm watching a documentary that's on a topic I'm interested in. That's huge too. For reading, I love the super creative, and I really love the kind of more deep topics where you're talking about spiritual things, like theological books, or somebody's life experience is really powerful in writing, and those I love. So that's my examples. I have just found that there really is two different ways that impacts me, and I take in information, and so I have my preferences. I also did a research paper in school about how the different ages can be impacted developmentally by technology differently. And it was interesting because the article that I particularly was struck by didn't say technology is bad all the time. No technology at all. It said it depends on what type of technology and what age. So for younger, they actually did really, really good on the learning games for development at a younger age. For older kids, that was not the type of technology they did well with. It didn't, okay, I'll say this. It didn't spur growth for them at that age. As far as learning games that were still age appropriate for them, but a learning game on a tablet or your phone. But then you look at different video games that challenge you in a certain way, and that could be helpful at that age instead. So that was really intriguing too, and I think that's kind of where I started looking at technology and other forms of media in a different way, that different things have different best uses, and each person is going to have their own way of learning also. So I thought this was an interesting topic. I hope I wasn't too all over the place. I hope you enjoyed this and it was interesting. Those were my thoughts on how those two impact your brain and how they have differing impacts, and how I particularly like to keep that in mind when I'm learning something or choosing something to watch or read, what have you. And then there's times where I'm just whatever, just for fun. So that is what I thought would be fun to talk about this week. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up and share it with everybody. Make sure you are subscribed and have notifications on, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye!